There's nothing.
What?
Nope.
So wait a minute, ain't no Tel Aviv University?
I'm looking right now to try to see what.
Because what I looked up, it said it was closed, temporarily closed.
Tel Aviv University.
Tel Aviv University, TEL space AVIV University.
Yeah, the university itself is closed. It's definitely closed. But that's talking. That's probably talking about what I'm gonna do is this. So Tel Aviv University, right?
Yeah. Exactly, Black Smurf.
Okay, well, we got some problems.
What's
Yeah, I
wrong?
could.
We got some problems. Hold on a second. What's the name of that? What's his first name?
It's supposed to be Richard Katz.
Okay, can I share my screen again, please?
Yes, sir, you can. Hold on.
I'm about to. This thing is about to. This is This is
First.
Darth Vader throwing Palpatine in the pipe right here. This is it.
Okay, so it's about to get worse. Okay.
It's about to get worse. This the end of the first 3 Star Wars right here. It's over.
Okay, family, hold on to your seatbelt because you know Kevin G come in hot. Get ready. Get low when you got to.
Listen,
Oh boy.
I suggest you put on your favorite bulletproof helmet and hide under your desk. So I'm about to just throw a shrapnel bomb up in this piece.
Okay.
Okay, can you see my screen here?
Yes, sir.
This is Tel Aviv University, right?
Yes, sir.
It says temporary closed. That's the facility, right?
Yes, sir.
It's located in Tel Aviv, Yafo, Israel, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
this is
sir.
Tel Aviv University site.
Yes, sir.
This is staff directory. Do you see that?
All right. Yes, sir.
This is the staff directory.
Uh-huh.
Now, go to staff directory, put in the last name, Katz, right? It pulls up people because people have the last name Katz there. But when you go to the right here, this is the staff directory for all of the professors there, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the right of anybody's name, it has a thing here that says email. You can email them.
Ah.
Now, here's what's real crazy about this. You ready?
Okay.
The emails are all at the domain of Tel Aviv.
Wow.
You can email now.
There ain't no Yahoo.
Now, hold on. Let's go to our man Richard.
Right. He should be in Hebrew language, linguistics or something.
He doesn't exist.
Well, there goes
he doesn't exist. Now we're going to do this. What organization is he in?
He's supposed to be in linguistics, Hebrew language, or something like that. Something dealing with language, I guess.
Okay, so let's just look at this. So let's look at the thing here. Information technology museum. Let's see. I will assume this, but let's see what else we have here.
Shit.
I will assume that. Then you choose a sub-organization, but I don't see a sub-organization. Let's do all. And there's no sub-organization to go from. Now, when I put in the name Katz, I also put in, let's see, academic units.
He had a PhD at the end of his name.
Right. But that it shouldn't matter. It will come up here, Brother Brian.
It should come up here, right? So let's look at this person here. This is Dimitri. This is the older office of the Department of History right here.
Okay.
This is a David Katz. It's not a Richard Katz.
Okay.
This is him right here.
And look how his email is written.
Yeah, this is his email. So if they would have emailed him, they should have shown an email if somebody was at Tel Aviv with this domain on it. Now, if you look at this site here, yeah, there's nothing here relating to that person. If they're trying to say this is the person, they need to show something. Because look what he says here.
Richard Katz.
But look what he says here in this bottom.
The best way to get in touch with me is via email that dscats2000@gmail.com or David at Brandis edu. Okay,
Okay.
so he did
Now
give it.
that's his website that gave us that information, not the Tel Aviv University.
Oh, okay, okay.
So now the question becomes, if they got in touch with David or Richard Katz in the first place, without, by the way, that wasn't Richard Katz. We chose him as an example. As you can see,
Right,
there's tons of cats here.
right.
What information, what website did they use to reach out to him?
Don't know.
And
They
what they
didn't.
need to do is show, oh, we went to the site, we went here, we looked up this name, we pulled up his name here, and that's where he was. Because when we go to Tel Aviv, there should be somebody there named Richard Katz. There isn't. There's no result. Now, if I was talking about a David, guess what? I could pull him up.
He's biomedical engineering. Do you see a department for linguistics?
I see the organizations. See, that's the thing. His signature in his email should have at least pointed to something.
Right.
It doesn't point us to anything. We don't have any specific place that they came from. So that's another thing they have to answer. What department does he work in Tel Aviv? Because we can easily look him up. We can easily pull this up and look him up.
Right, and it should have came up under his name.
It should have came up under a general search anyway.
So is that the whole faculty directory, teachers?
Yes, it is. If you go to staff directory up here, it says staff directory. It's going to give you this is the staff directory. You can look it up either by organization. You can look it up either by sub-organization. So let's say, for instance, let's do faculty of law.
Okay.
And then they have, you want all of them? Do you want faculty of law or you want law library? So
let's try. Yeah, let's say all.
And there it goes. It pulls up everybody in faculty of law. Right? With their information, phone number, fax, and their email that you can just pull up and just email them. Okay? At that domain. Now, when you see the mail.tail.ac.il,
okay,
and you have the mail.tail, that's called a wildcard, or not a wildcard, but yes, it's a subdomain. So it's mail. Just like you do mail.gmail.com. Some domains are like that.
So even if you don't do a sub-organization or you just did the organization, you just did his name should have came up some kind of way, right?
Right, absolutely. Like he said in his in the video before, he says they all tried to look up this person and there's nothing there in regards to any type of
Okay, Brother Maui says, somebody, Maui, aka Joe, I don't know if that's Brother Maui. He says, hey, everyone listening in, I've seen a Richard Katz at Mayonet Institute of Jewish Studies, but still kind of off.
Where does you see that? He said what at Mayonet?
It's in the chat right there. He said, hey, everyone, been listening. I've seen a Richard Katz at Mayonet Institution of Jewish Studies, but still kind of off. That's what he said. So why say Tel Aviv University? You see, if you're still lying. Either way it goes, you'd still be lying. And notice, family, we doing this out in the open right before your very eyes. Okay, so nobody's hiding nothing. Because we didn't make these claims, they did. And they throwing these people in the basket. We're not throwing these people in the basket. They are. Okay. But what we do know is ain't no Richard Katz at no Tel Aviv University. So that was a lie altogether. Oh, it's you, Brother Maui. Okay, God bless you. Okay. So when you looked for it, Brother Maui, did it say what? Okay, you said he was Jewish studies, but see, would that Jewish studies fall under linguistics, Brother Maui? Okay, maybe Kevin G might look it up.
I am now. You guys can hear my
Oh, you back there clicking? Okay, yeah, click away. Go ahead and do your clicking.
I found them. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and look at, let's see. Okay, so I found Richard Katz at Mayonet Institute of Jewish Studies,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like he deals with, let's see, his citations. Um, he doesn't deal with language at all. This guy is totally, he's in behavioral biology.
Can you please show that?
Yeah, certainly.
Okay.
So here's the guy here at Richard Katz, see that?
Mm-hmm.
Mayonet Institute of Jewish Studies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now he does it. That's not his department. That's what the school is called.
Okay.
Mayonet Institute of Jewish Studies. If you look that up, this is it. It's the actual school in Jerusalem, Israel. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now going back to his information, notice that his department is behavioral biology, and he's doing a paper called "The Appetitive Determinants for Self-Stimulation."
So he wouldn't deal with this area at all.
No, not at all. This guy's talking about brain stimulations caused by food depravity, self-stimulation, food produced by subsequent increase of self-stimulation of whatever this is, substantia nigra, must be something in Hebrew. And as you can see here, this is Katz being cited in his work in regards to these things.
Oh my God.
If you go down, he talks about food and water deprivation resulting in robust facilitation of ICSS, multiple other studies. And you see he's cited on this. This is back in 78, by the way. He talks about here the increase in methamphetamine intake for cessation of chronic will activity could be attributed to exercise deprivation, effect as seen by deprivation by other substances of food and sweetened solution. Katz et al. 1978. Now, when you look that up, you could probably have what we're looking at here. And it looks like we do. So we look at confidence limits break risk ratio. So let's look at this here. And this is dealing with medicine. All right, this is dealing with medicine. And as you can see, for this article on medicine, they're referring to Katz and biometrics. 1978, same source that we see on this site, which has this picture associated with the only school in Jerusalem that we were able to find. There is no Richard Katz that we could find that deals with language. There is no Richard Katz that we could find at Tel Aviv University. And we saw that all the domains in Tel Aviv University was different. By the way, if somebody's from Tel Aviv in Israel, right? Here's another tidbit. Here's another thing. Here's another thing. Now notice, I want to take you back to something here very key.
Okay.
People can use email any way they like, especially if they use a VPN.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, especially if they use a VPN. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna let you know something about these emails here. What's the unique thing you see about these emails?
Besides it being linked to the school,
right. What's at the very end of that email?
It's a .il.
Okay, do you know what that means?
No.
Okay, .il is the international domain for Israel.
What?
Yes, it's the international domain for Israel.
So meaning what? It can't go outside of Israel?
No, meaning that it comes from Israel. Each country have their own thing. Like if you go to a game site like Capcom.jp, right? If you go Capcom.jp, or if you go Capcom.com, you go to their base site. Then when you go to Japan, right? Notice it says co.jp.
Right.
Now that's because of their countries of what you call it. Now, if I go to co.il, if they do have one, I should get the Israel version of it, but I don't. But that's what I'm talking about. Each country have their own domain. For Canada, it's CA, right? For Europe, you're gonna have a base domain because they have the internet domain the same they share with the US. If you do Taiwan, you get TW, right? So this is just an example of how domains work. And by that domain, you could tell where it came from. Like RU will be Russia. Russia has RU. Germany has GR, and so forth and so on, right?
Oh, so it will let you know what country that this email is coming from.
Well, if they're using a server based in that country, yes, that domain will be IL. Now, what we have, not only do we have the same mobile device, which is weird as heck, well, we already know what that's all about. We know he's faking the email. Not only that, but why would he reply back using a domain outside of his country?
Good point.
That's when I looked at that. I was like, well, wait a minute. If he's from Tel Aviv University, he's replying back from an email. Why is he using a general domain email to reply back to these guys? What email?
You know
did
what?
they use?
You're right. Because when Dr. M. Boonis emailed, I believe he emailed Abu, it had the IL, if I can recall.
Well, we have to look at that and see. But that will be something interesting there, because if he did reply back with the .il, then that means that was the guy replying back to Abu was replying back from a Israel domain server. And that server sent the email out and it had that tag and domain because it came from Israel. This guy who's saying that the Pews are fake, not only was the syntax the same between him and his email writing, and the device was the same, and the SPF ID was the IP address was the same. You can't get out. This is you can't get around this. It's embarrassing.
And you can't fake the IL, correct? You can't fake the TW, the IL, and all that other stuff.
Only you can do that, but only way you can do that is if you get a VPN. You get a VPN connection. You do a VPN to say Israel, right? You use a server in Israel to VPN through. When you're a server in Israel, any internet site is going to look at you as Israel. So let's say if you go to CNN.com, it's going to pull it up the Israel version. If you go to, it's going to give you the Israel version of these sites, right? Because they assume that you're a citizen of Israel. Just like when I go to Google and I'm in America, it's going to pull up google.com. If I pull up Google while I'm in Mexico, it's going to pull up google.co.mx. And it's going to show me the Mexican version of Google, which everything is in the Mexican language. The reason why they do this is because they also cater to searches based on your area. So if I look up steak, it's going to generalize my searches based on America, which is probably going to show me a ribeye, a T-bone, something like that. If I'm in Mexico and I look up steak, it's going to probably look up fajitas and different Mexican dishes that may include beef or steak. So it's more catered to what people in the general area search for. So that's how domains work in regards to personalized web surfing and going to searches and doing searches and things of that nature. Where this dude messed up, he showed it's the same device ID. It's the same SPF. I'm going to tell you something about that IP address. That IP address is everything. You want to know why?
Please.
Because the IP address shows you what subnet you're coming from. It shows the subnet that you're coming from. Now, here's why that's really damaging here. If you look up the IP address and you ping it, you ping the server. I'll do it right now. Okay. Let's go to ping, right? Let's do ping IP address, right? I'm gonna do a public ping. So let's do, I don't know what this site is, so I apologize if guys are saying, what's up this site?
Take your time,
what's your time. Site? What's a good site? Ping.com? Ping.com? No, what's that site? Ping, should be ping. Well, what's my IP? I think should have a version of ping. I don't use these web ones anymore. It's my, let me do this. I'm gonna do this off my screen here.
This is crazy, and you would think his Ethel would have told him don't do this. Maybe they didn't know. I don't know. Maybe they didn't know he.
Forget it. Forget it. I'm gonna just do a generic thing here. Okay, so this is how you ping an IP address. Okay. Now I may not be able to hit his device, but I can hit the server that he hit from. Okay. So let's say, for instance, this one right here, he has let's see, 74.6.131. 131.124, right? Okay, so there it is. I'm hitting that device. Now, if I do, I forget my commands here. If I do a, good Lord, what do I want to do? Let's do a trace route, right? Let's do a trace route to that address. In fact, let's go up. Let's do a trace
Well,
route.
I don't want him to turn on his VPN, Brother Maui, because he public. So I don't want nobody to get his personal information.
It doesn't matter. I mean, the IP I'm using is bogus anyway.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't matter here. All right, so bingo, he failed. Do you see what the IP address is pulling? Watch this. Watch the hops. We're gonna look at the hops here. Okay.
This is what he used?
No, what it's doing is I'm doing a trace route. What this is that it goes and it hops to the trace route to whatever it is. Notice there, what it's pulling though, DNS has identified the name already as Sonic 31114 at consumer. See that? .mail.bf2.yahoo.com.
Wow. Okay.
Which means, guess what? The email address he sent that from hopped off the same US Yahoo server.
So it wasn't from Israel at all.
At all, because think about it. If that IP address is the same, then that's the thing that blows out the water for me. When I saw it, I was like, oh, that's over.
Oh God, let me take a walk.
When you do a trace route, I could zoom in for everybody. If I hold on, let me do edit.
Oh Jesus!
We do properties here. I could zoom in a bit. Let's do font. Let's make the font bigger. Okay.
Kevin, you's a genius, bro.
Okay, so if you notice this, I did a trace route 274.6.131.124. That's the IP address that shows up on both emails, one from the professor and one from him himself, right? When I do that, DNS resolved the name to Sonic 31114 consumer email bf2.yahoo.com. When you do that, it's now hopping to that device. Notice I haven't left the country. All of my domains are US based. All of my IP address are US based. So that goes to show when he sent the email from both of those, it hopped on the same server because of the area he's in. Now, if there was another one and you saw a different IP address, then we could trace route that and see if it hops out the country. It'll be a star, it'll be asterisk, it'll say request timed out, right? Because that router that is hopping, because when you do a hop, you're hopping on layer 3 devices. So when you hop in on layer 3 devices, the router is not returning back any routing information. It says, I'm not going to return this information, but I'm going to pass off your packet and see whatever that returns back. So that's why you don't see these specific servers for security reasons, right? So notice here, the only time that it timed out is when it went from in this domain. It hopped in this domain. Notice same subdomain, different sub IP, started at the third octet of 141.180. Then it continues to go. It has not left the US. Meaning that the dude that sent that email, the professor, and the other one hopped on the same server in the same state in America. So it's impossible to be a professor in Israel. Mic drop.
Brother Kevin, I'm gonna have to send you a bill in the morning because you just kicked in my front door and bust out my window, sir. I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna send you a bill in the morning. You can't keep coming up in here and tearing up stuff. Listen, this is terrible.
They're lying. They're lying. Listen, they put out this whole thing like, oh, we're trying to be racist. Listen, every single thing they put out there has turned out to be a lie. Straight up and down lie. Now,
so
I'm going to tell you.
Both of it? You sure did.
Yes, the 74.6.131.124 is the same pass IP. You can see the domain there. You can see the DMARC. Yeah. Right? Yeah. The DMARC is the server that it touches before it leaves the network, or the server that the DMARC is really what exists between. A DMARC point is between the customer site and their site.
Okay, so you talking about down here, DKIM?
Yeah, these are different.
Oh, DMARC. Oh.
Right. That's a demarcation point, right? So that's the server that it touches before it goes in. The DKIM is going to be domain keys identified mail. So these are the domain keys used by the identified mail. Each the same domain key. Okay.
Okay.
So that's what that all stands for.
When y'all get a chance, read Isaiah 54:17 and think about all this going on.
So I put little blue marks right there so you can see what Brother Kevin is talking about. So, you know, I know it's a little small delay. I'm just going to draw a line, you know, sloppy line. This is what he's talking about down here. So you see those blue marks? That's what he's talking about right there. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a DMARC record. It's a DMARC record. It's a record in DNS. It has the same record. Listen, it has the same IP. It has the same record. It has the same domain key identified mail record. It has the same SPF ID, which that SPF ID, man,
Jesus.
you know what's so ironic about this? They got so many people on their team that claim they're programmers, they know this and that. And when they came up with this plan, nobody checked them and was like, well, nah, bro, that's not going to work because of the SPF. That's not going to work because of the DMARC. What goes to show they're not aware of how this stuff works either. Now, granted, they call themselves programmers, but I mean, if you're a developer in this day and age, you should know something about these records and how they work within a website.
Right,
you should know this stuff.
exactly.
So,
And wait a minute, shouldn't Sister E know this?
well, Sister E, like I said, she's a project manager, I think. I don't think she knows how this works. She's project managers don't necessarily have to be technical. They could just be aware of the technologies and how they work together. But I'm not taking shots on her. I'm not sure. I'm not talking. I don't know much about what she does. But what I'm saying is that the irony of it is that they're surrounded with people who could have gave better advice than this. Like, for instance, I'm gonna just throw this out there and I'm gonna just tell you how I would fake an email. Okay. I would use a VPN. Easy. I will use a VPN. I will connect to an Israel server. I will sign up for an email account at an Israel website.
Well, don't give them no idea.
Well, at this point, they already been exposed. So anything else after that is going to be mute. Then now, if they and if they do, now here's the other thing. Not only do they have to solve the problem of making up a fake professor, they also have to make that professor real too, right? So even if they were to do that, they still have to prove that this professor is real. So it doesn't matter. I mean, what I'm saying is that I would have done better than this. So at this point, it doesn't even.
It doesn't even matter. Okay.
Let me let G-Con here.
G-Con here?
Yeah, he is. I just let him in.
Okay. Praise God.
Read that scripture, sister.
Yes, sir. I'll read it from this what you put in the chat here. Isaiah chapter 54 verse 17 says, no weapon that is fashioned or formed against you shall succeed or prosper, and you shall refute every tongue that rises against you in judgment. Amen. This is the heritage of the servant of the Lord, the servants of the Lord, and their vindication from me, declares the Lord. Amen to that. Good God Almighty.
That's the reason they can't come against us.
This is who does this? Brother Brian, Kevin G, Brother G Con, God bless you and welcome to the panel, dear brother. This is ridiculous.
It is crazy. Here's another thing too. Hey, what's happening, bro? I mean, this is something that needs to be looked at as well. Oh my gosh. Like, okay, if you look at the Android device, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the same phone, it's an Android 15.1, Android 9, PPR1. It's like a Samsung G95U. That's the same CPU. Same LCD screen, same resolution on the screen. They're using the exact same phone. Now, here's what's gonna probably blow this more out the water. Let me look at this right here.
You want a screen share?
Well,
just let me know when you're ready. Okay, so I hope I'm okay. I'm highlighting the right stuff, am I?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's all good stuff. But
I just want to highlight it for them so they can see what you was talking about right here. It's the same doggone thing. Boy, this is terrible. This is terrible. This is awful line right here.
Guess what?
I think it's
Guess what?
time for them to give up on these pews.
Guess what? Guess what? You're gonna find something else too. It's crazy.
What?
I'm gonna share my screen if you don't mind.
Okay, hold on. Let me take mine down.
But I mean, just a link they'll go to do this stuff.
Bro, I don't know nothing about this
Just
stuff.
give up on the pews. I mean, how much? I mean, give up on the DNA. Give up on the pews. You're not going to win.
This is a site. I used to hack Android phones. I used to do it for fun. I used to unlock them and stuff and break them. And me and G-Con get into this debate all the time. He said, man, you should get a Samsung. I said, man, I spent my days jailbreaking them and rooting them, getting access because they're Linux-based devices, right?
Thank God you saved. Praise the Lord.
Oh no. It's not a crime. It's not no. Believe it or not, Android has an open license on them. They allow you to do that. It's just that because they believe in open source. So you could root your phone if you want, and you can drop any type of thing on there. But if you guys can see my screen, right?
Okay. Can you make that a little bit bigger so they can see?
Sure. Yeah. This is the SMG950U. Do you know why?
No.
Well, it's an unlocked version of this phone. Okay, it's a Snapdragon processor. But take a look here. Look at the country and region that it's only available in.
I'm done. I'm walking out.
United States.
Yep. If you pull up any other phone, these are the types that are available in the United States. That model, that 950, is only branded in the United States. Now, here's another thing you can find. If you go out to carrier, the carrier info for that phone, if you look up the 950, now this is the 950U, the actual phone that we're talking about here, that same carrier. Now, these are the countries that you can actually use it with different carriers if you roam with them. Right?
Okay.
And this is the code for that.
Make that bigger so they can see.
Okay.
Okay. You got to get rid of that.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of advertising and stuff like that. Now, if you were to roam with this phone, okay, these are the partners that he has to get with or show that they're on. Now, according to that information, I don't think this was a roaming phone at all.
No, like that wasn't on there at all.
Right, because here's the problem. You would have gotten an IP address from one of these three here. Cellcom IP would have been on that email. Orange Partner, if you did it by which call would be on there, and Pelephone will be on there. Here's another thing: Israeli email services or internet services. None of the emails on there is from any Israeli service. We already proven that with the trace route. So these are international phone companies. I work with Orange extensively when I work for a French company. Orange is actually the equivalent of AT&T in America. So they partner like that. We don't see any IP address in there that's coming from any of these cell phone carriers. And guess what? It's a US phone. So this is only when roaming. And furthermore, I think the phone was released in 2017.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's his thing.
So wait a minute. So that phone, that picture of that phone, that's the kind of phone that we got what his phone looked like?
This is the phone here. Let me see images. That's it right there.
You got to be kidding me.
That's it right there.
So we know what Mr. Brown's phone look. I'm done. I'm so done right now.
But no, it's his phone. He has a Samsung Galaxy 8, which I don't think is sold in Israel. The region for this phone is US. I mean, if you go to Amazon and buy it, it'll actually tell you. Like for instance, if you go to Amazon here, you try to buy it, it will tell you.
What you talking about?
Oh man, bro.
Oh, G-Con don't even know.
We so far in the matrix. It's ridiculous, man. All right, let me give you a recap, G-Con.
Yeah, help him.
Faithful to God released a video recently showing how the emails and some of the evidence with the Pews have recently surfaced. One of the sections he focused on is who sent the email and if Richard Katz, the professor that they attempted to use, is actually a real person. And looking at the email, he found a couple of problems. Number one, the syntax between Brown and Richard Katz is the same. No punctuation, run-on sentences, the way they write word for word. No doubt about it. He then goes into not being able to find Richard Katz in any Israeli university. We also show further that no Richard Katz exists from any university, especially the one that they claim that he comes from. Then Abu did this genius thing and showed the original tag information in the email that shows where the email came from. And when we looked at it, we saw that it came from the same IP address. Now, Abu didn't offer a lot of detail on that. But what I did, I shared my screen and I did a trace route and found that it's only coming from a server in the United States. Not only that, but if you look at the code information above, it came from a Samsung 9